Hello and namaste to all of you. In our UPSC GS series, it is your audio number 20 and we are doing under sustainable development unit 14 harness technology. Under sustainable development and in unit 14 we have covered in our audio number 19 introduction of harness technology, concept of harness technology. 2 points we have already covered in audio number 19. In this audio number 20, we will cover human resource development, that is family planning, poverty and sustainable development, health, agriculture, sustainable agricultural practices, industry, natural resources, that is energy, water, conservation of ecosystems, harnessing technology, the Asian context, and at the last summary of the unit 14 of sustainable development, that is harness technology. The general instruction for students are the same, that they have to listen the audio number 20 very carefully, very intuition, and note down 10 words in their notebook after listening. Point 3 of the harness technology, that is human resource development. The population of the world is increasing every year. However, the available natural resources have remained limited. Most of the population growth is in the low income developing countries and ecologically disadvantaged regions where the access of the people to the education, health care, and food security is heavily compromised. Today, there are more poor, hungry, and illiterate people in the world than ever before who have no access to safe drinking water, sound homes, and fuel wood, and their numbers are on the rise. The gap between rich and poor countries is widening. Human population is a resource that is knowledge and skill based. It is a reservoir of traditional or indigenous knowledge and experiences that have sustained generations of humankind of centuries and will continue to do so in the future. Human resource is an asset that needs to be developed and managed in the modern industrial world. Human resource development (HRD) is largely oriented towards development of skills, motivation for proficiency, excellence, efficient communication, sophistication of technology, higher productivity, and commitment to the organization for global accomplishment. The broader areas of health and education are also incorporated in process of human resource development. Improvement in education, health and nutrition will allow them to use the resources in a far better way. Human resource development is a crucial requirement to build up technical knowledge and capabilities to enable people to cope up with the rapidly changing economic, social, and environmental scenario. 3.1 Family planning. To manage human resources effectively, there is an urgent requirement to limit the growth of population. In the industrial world, the fertility rates have dropped and the population has stabilized. In contrast, the developing world has shown a rapid acceleration in population growth where the young future parents predominate. In these nations, the development of long-term population control policies and motivation for family planning is required. This gives the people the right to choose the size of their families along with assuring the basic right of self-determination, especially for women. Also, the availability of the methods and techniques of population control like education and contraceptives should be assured especially to the economically poorer sections. Contraceptives are an effective means of lowering the fertility rate. Recent advances in medical technology has provided with a wide choice of different contraceptive devices which are highly efficient and without any major side effects to human health. Several hormonal, chemical, and plant based contraceptives are rapidly available in the market, which can be injected, taken orally, applied topically, and implanted by operation. Other population control methods include tubectomy, tubectomy and vasectomy, which are also carried out more efficiently using advanced surgical techniques. With the rapid advances in communication technology, it has been easier to reach remote areas with an aim to educate the masses about the implications of population explosion. Information technology combined with telecommunications has brought the recent developments in the field of population control face to face with the public and has generated awareness. 3.2 Poverty and Sustainable Development. One of the greatest challenges of the 21st century is poverty elevation. Poverty is not just about income, it is about opportunity, capability, and security. The key elements of poverty are adequate food, clean water, and energy. Towards this, government action in partnership with the private sector, non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and academic institutions at the national and international levels is required. Energy technologies, information technology, and agricultural biotechnology have enormous potential to improve the lives of the poor. According to the estimate, businesses based on these three sectors have the potential to engage 3 billion people. The problems of the poor could be solved when villages and urban slums are transformed, connecting villages to the mainstream through telecommunications and information technology will empower people with information, knowledge, and skills to increase productivity and to convert their indigenous knowledge into products and services that are marketable. Increased connectivity with larger markets will provide wider opportunities to rural economies. The Government of India is evolving a master plan to develop herbal and natural products and horticulture that will link the poor farmer to the large global and domestic markets. The right kind of technology input, although the value chain will create wealth for millions of people. The recent national strategy on sustainable agriculture and rural development has adopted an approach to manage the use of natural resources in such a way that it serves the objectives of accelerated growth, employment, and alleviation of hunger. Advancements in the information and communication technologies (ICTs) have certainly helped global commerce. The proper design and effective availability of ICT services to those who thus far could not reap its benefits. The term digital divide is used for this state of affairs are critical areas that need attention. This will help business in outsourcing their supplies globally more efficiently. In brief, technologies need to be harnessed to reduce the gap between the haves and have nots for sustainable development. 3.3 Health. The basis of human productivity is good health and is essential for sustainable development. Many diseases are caused due to polluted water supply, poor sanitation, and wastewater mismanagement and air pollution. Health problems are also arise from nutritional deficiencies. Malnutrition could be attributed to the lack of calories, protein, and elements like iodine and iron. Integrated approaches of sanitation, food production, safe drinking water supply, industrial policy with regard to pollution and health education, along with medical intervention through preventive and curative therapeutics are required to manage this issue. The tremendous impact of biotechnology in the field of medicine has revolutionized health care. Medical research focuses on the development of vaccines, especially with regard to the tropical diseases. Improved vaccines on polio, hepatitis, tuberculosis, diphtheria, etc., have been used effectively in tropical countries to combat these diseases. Vaccines for killer diseases like acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, AIDS are undergoing research and development. In the pharmaceutical sector, drug designing technology has come up with innovative drugs which are rapid in action with minimal side effects. New drugs are constantly produced which are effectively combating pollution related diseases like asthma and allergy. There are not only curative but preventive drugs as well. Highly developed invasive and non-invasive surgical technologies have aided in hitherto unimaginable methods of cure. Diseases like cancer are now curable with the techniques of chemotherapy and radiation therapy. There have been rapid advances in designing diagnostic tools required for effective diagnosing of diseases using the disciplines of computers, biophysics, biochemistry, and biotechnology. Endos- endoscopy, ultrasound, nuclear magnetic resonance, computer aided tomography, etc., are some of the commonly used diagnostic tools. Other high-tech tools are enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay (ALICA), ELISA, for detecting diseases like AIDS and deoxyribonucleic acid (DNA), fingerprinting for determining genetic defects at birth. These tools are extremely sensitive and accurate. The indigenous systems of medicine like Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, Chinese, and Tibetan have gained much prominence in the last few years. The drugs have been used traditionally since ages and cater to about 70% of the world population. They are cheap, effective, and have no side effects. Therefore, the development of and promotion of traditional systems of medicine is gaining momentum. However, how to harness these technologies in a manner affordable and accessible to economically marginalized and poor people that constitute more than 80% of world population is a key question. Agriculture. Point 4, agriculture. There are some 1.2 billion people in this world who do not get enough to eat. Many more live on nutritionally deficient diet. About 160 million preschool children are malnourished. The majority of the poor live in rural areas and depend on agriculture directly or indirectly for their livelihood. Agricultural productivity, technology, and labor, as the experience of the United States US shows, are the driving forces that elevate poverty and improve food security. Productivity is given primary importance in agricultural development. The concept of sustainable agriculture stems from the fact that there is an upper limit to the productivity of agricultural lands. If this is exceeded, then the ecosystem will degrade and eventually collapse. Therefore, a balance has to be brought in between the productivity levels and the sustainability of the ecosystem. The Food and Agriculture Organization FAO of the United Nations describes sustainable agriculture as the management and conservation of the resources base and the orientation of the technological and institutional changes in such a manner as to ensure attainment and continued satisfaction of human needs for the present and future generations. Such sustainable development is environmentally non-degrading, technically appropriate, economically viable, and socially acceptable. 4.1 Sustainable agricultural practices. There are two types of environmental problems associated with agriculture. Number one, the high potential areas. There are the rain-fed areas, exempli Gratia, South Asia, areas of green revolution, where high yielding varieties, high levels of fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides are used. In these areas, during the last few decades, food production was raised with high input agriculture. The use of excessive chemical fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, and pumping out of the groundwater resulted in major ecological, economic, and socio-political repercussions. For example, in Punjab, agricultural revolution was ushered in with new hybrid varieties of wheat and rice, fertilizers, and irrigation. In the process, the increased demand of water required for paddy cultivation led to a fall in the water tables, thus forcing the farmers to pump out more groundwater. The excessive use of fertilizers led to disturbed nutrient balance. The run of water containing pesticides and other agrochemicals from the fields polluted other sources of water like streams, rivers, etc. Elsewhere, like Uttar Pradesh, high salt buildup often resulted in abandonment of otherwise good farming lands. Number two, less favored areas. In rural areas, especially in Africa, the land is degraded and deforested in unsustainable and erosive ways of farming. The poor accessibility to fertilizers, agrochemicals, and irrigation facilities have further aggravated the already poor fertility status of the soil. The solution lies in agricultural technology based sustainable farming practices like precision farming, integrated pest management, high yielding varieties, and improved water management practices. Number one, soil fertility. Although the use of chemical fertilizers cannot be stopped, their use can be minimized. The fertility of the soil of the agricultural lands can be maintained by using organic fertilizers like organic compost, manure, etc. Biotechnologically enhanced bio bioinoculants are used routinely to enhance the soil fertility. A large number of microorganisms are found in the soil like bacteria, fungi, acti, actinomycetes, protozoa, and fungi. These are called bioinoculants. They have great potential for biocontrol of pests, plant growth, and bioremediation of metals from the soil. The most commonly used bioinoculants are the bacterium, rhizobium, and the fungi. Arbuscular mycorrhizae (AM) rhizobia live in the roots of some leguminous plants and fix the atmospheric nitrogen into a form that is readily absorbed by the plant. AM means arbuscular mycorrhizae (AM) are present in the roots of some plants and grow to a few centimeters in length. Thus, they are able to procure water and nutrients from deeper layers of the soil and provides term to their host plant. Bioinoculant Bioinoculant production at a commercial scale began as early as 1930s in the US and was mixed with seeds, soil, agar or humus. Now several developing countries are manufacturing bioinoculants. Number 2. Cropping practices. The techniques of mixed cropping and crop rotation are effective is maximally utilizing the nutrients from the soil. Different crops are mixed together and sown in the same field in mixed cropping. In crop rotation, the fields are not allowed to lie fallow after a crop season is over, but other crops of the season are cultivated. This prevents soil erosion to a large extent. Moreover, the application of herbicides is reduced. Leguminous crops containing rhizobia render the soil fertile and so the fertilizer requirement of the subsequent crop is reduced to some extent. Certain minute plants like azolla can also fix atmospheric nitrogen. Paddy fields are inoculated with azolla that satisfies the nitrogen requirement of the crop. Number 3. Novel plant varieties. Agricultural biotechnology has generated several high-yielding varieties of wheat, rice and maize, which are the basis of the green revolution. Research has been going on for other coarse crops like millets, legumes, legumes and vegetables to produce high yielding herbicide, drought, pest, flood and disease resistant varieties. Several varieties of tomatoes are produced which have a high shelf life. The BT cotton variety is an example of biotechnologically generated transgenic plant. This variety of cotton plant has a gene that is taken from the bacterium Bacillus thurin- thuringiensis BT. Bacillus thuringiensis BT. The bacterium produces a chemical that is toxic and insects called toxin. The gene that produces the toxin has been taken out of the bacterium and put in the cotton plant. The new transgenic plant is able to produce the toxin. So the plant has become immune to insect attacks. Thus, the crop requires reduced levels of pesticides. Several new research organizations are focused on producing vaccines in plants. Some reports say that attempts of developing transgenic tomatoes producing hepatitis vaccine have been successful. This technology will enable us to grow and produce vaccines naturally. from plant sources, thereby considerably reducing the costs of vaccines. Number 4. Integrated Pest Management IPM. Integrated pest management is the judicious use of pesticides by the farmer. This is proving to be very successful in some intensively farmed areas, raising crop yields and drastically reducing environmental problems. A farmer practicing IPM identifies the pests present in his field and checks for signs that the pest is reaching a stage where it can cause significant damage. Only then he applies the pesticides. Thus, IPM can reduce pesticide use to 50 to 70%. IPM also means choosing low toxicity pesticides that do not target human beings and other organisms and apply them in the lowest effective quantities. Some alternative pesticides are also available that are used. Natural pesticides are extracts from plants like like chrysanthemum, like chrysanthemum or neem. Botanical pesticides are ingredients from natural extracts like pyrethrin from pyrethrum. Biological Biological pesticides could be bacteria like Bt, insects that can kill other harmful insects, birds that can kill insect pests, or even fishes kill insects which are cultured with the paddy crop. Number 5. Livestock. Biotechnology and genetic engineering has played an extremely important role in breeding high yielding varieties of livestock. In India, Operation Flood for milk production resulted in not only a self sufficiency but also a surplus production. The genetically engineered animals yield not only high amounts of milk and meat, they are disease resistant and sturdy beasts of burden as well. The poultry and pisciculture sector has also immensely benefited from genetic engineering and improved methods of breeding. The production of meat, fish, and eggs are dramatically improved. The technology aided yield of agricultural products has had a positive impact on the society. It has generated several new avenues of agricultural produce like mushroom cultivation and vermiculture. It has generated several sources of income for the rural population. Point 5. Industry. The economic growth of a country is measured by its industrial growth. Today, it has become all the more important for developing countries to meet the growing needs of the population. Many essential human needs are met through goods manufactured by the industry where technology plays an extremely important role. In its simplest form, a production technology is a method of combining the following 5 Ms. M1 machine or know-how. M2 materials including energy. M3 money. M3 money. M4 management and manpower. M5 market and users. It is clear that machine or know-how, that is M1, in itself does not produce products. Any process of production requires the synchronized use of the above mentioned MS. The available westernized industrial mass production technologies are based on expensive M1 and M2. Large quantities of M2 procured from different locations to produce goods for standardized M5 using highly skilled manpower and standardized management practices. M4. The raw materials used in the industry are extracted from natural resources, often using processes that cause pollution to the environment by releasing wastes. An alternate manufacturing technological paradigm combines the production processes with the process of sustainable development. These technologies provide for flexible production and allow for number one, decentralized production, number two, descaling, number three, better use of local resources and skills, number four, reduced effluent discharges, number five, improved energy efficiencies, number six, lower capital or labor ratios. A small-scale industrialization system, especially relevant to developing countries based on biotechnology, microelectronics, new materials, and information technology, is emerging. Use of these manufacturing and technologies help redress the rural-urban imbalance besides providing rural employment opportunities. In order for the industry to be environmentally sustainable, it has to adopt green technologies. Prevention of pollution is preferable over remediation or cleaning up. This is called end of the pipe solution. It is imperative, therefore, that therefore that the industry sector incorporates environment friendly technologies at all the steps of the manufacturing process rather than at the end step. Environmental friendly technologies consume less water and energy and produce less waste. Besides, many green processes are operated in a way that the waste of one becomes the raw material of the other. This is called industrial symbiosis. Industrial symbiosis. In nature, living beings depend upon each other and even utilize each other's wastes. They even degrade the bodies of the creatures when they die. Industries should also follow this process. In fact, this has been adopted in, in Kalundborg, Denmark. It has four industries. They are Asnes, Gipak, Novo Nordisk, and Statoil. Asnes is a company that generates electric power by burning coal. Steam is produced in this process that is supplied to 5,000 houses, which provides them with heat. The fly ash and clinker obtained as byproducts are used in building roads and producing cement. The sulfur produced by burning coal is partially captured by a scrubber and is converted into calcium sulfate, which is supplied to Jipak. Jipak prepares wallboards from this calcium sulfate. This steam from Asnes is also sent to Novo Nordisk. This is a pharmaceutical company that uses microorganisms to ferment food grade material into usable product. The residue of the fermentation is sludge. The steam from Asnes is, is used to kill the the microorganisms. The microorganisms in the sludge and the latter is used as a fertilizer by thousands of farmers. Statoil, Statoil is a petroleum refinery that sends the gaseous methane and ethane obtained from petroleum to Jaipak, which uses them for the ovens required to dry wall board. Statoil also sends gas to Asnes, which can burn less coal. It also supplies used water to Asnes that uses it to clean plant equipment and provide feed water to its boiler, further reducing water demand and thermal pollution. Point 6. Natural resources. Natural resources like energy, water, and other raw materials like minerals are limited, while some of the coal, petroleum, and groundwater are non replenishable. Therefore, strong efforts are needed to use them in a judicious and sustainable way. 6.1. Energy. Energy provides services for human life, heat for cooking, warmth, manufacturing, and power for transport and mechanical work. The primary sources of energy are number A, fossil fuels like coal and petroleum, number B, wood and charcoal, number C, natural sources like water, solar and wind, and natural gas, and nuclear. Coal and petroleum are non-renewable energy sources. The energy is converted into services by equipments like motors, turbines, etc. A lot of primary energy is wasted due to inefficient design or running of the equipments. More energy like electricity is wasted while transportation, and still more is wasted in the consumer sector due to appliances that are inefficient in utilizing the energy to the optimum levels. The intervention of engineering technology is essential in developing fuel efficient systems to minimize the gross wastage of valuable energy. Burning of fossil fuels has caused an increase in the harmful gases called greenhouse gases. There are carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, and carbon monoxides. These gases trap the solar radiation in the Earth's atmosphere, and as a result, the radiation cannot escape. The Earth warms up as a result. This phenomenon is called global warming. Global warming has many detrimental effects on the Earth, like melting of ice caps, glaciers, and raising the sea levels. This has an adverse effect on the species breeding and survival. Besides, these gases combine with the atmospheric water to produce nitric acid and sulfuric acid that come down as acid rain. Acid rain has caused havoc in the aquatic systems in Europe. The pH of the water, which is normally around 7, which sustains life, reduces to around 2 to 3. Aquatic organisms like fishes, etc., die due to the acidification of water. Alternative sources of energy that cause minimal damage to the environment is the requirement of the day. Due to the changes in technology, the US has moved from wood to coal to oil and now to natural gas. With more advances in technology, it would be possible to move on to safer energy sources with low carbon and non-fossil fuels. Non-polluting renewable sources of energy like hydroelectricity, solar power, natural gas, and nuclear energy are looked upon as potential sources in the near future. Fuels with higher hydrogen to carbon ratio like methane or ethanol are being investigated and are in use in some of the developed countries. The automobile industry is developing vehicles that have vehicles that have high fuel efficiency and are far less polluting than current automobiles. In an attempt to switch from environment degrading chemicals to environment friendly chemicals, the industries are taking help from biotechnology. For example, the paper industry used chemicals like chlorine for pulping and bleaching operations. The search for an alternative pulping and bleaching agent led to enzymes called cellulase free glycolysis. Glycolysis. These enzymes are now produced on a commercial scale and are in regular use in developed nations. Some of the other industrial enzymes are those used in winemaking, baking, dairy products, fruit juice, clarification, starch, modification, leather, sugar, and confectionery, fructose production, detergent formulation, amino acid synthesis, and desizing cotton. Polymers derived from chemicals are difficult to dispose as they do not degrade. Therefore, biotechnology, polymer science, and engineering have come up with a new compound called biopolymers. Biopolymers are synthesized and microorganisms. Some examples are polyhydroxy, alkonates, biocomposites, and polymers of lactic acid. They find use in medicine like suture, prosthetic implants, and agricultural applications like controlled release of fertilizers, fishing nets, and packaging materials. Biopolymers are also used for insulation, conduction, and have other industrial uses like tapes and adhesive. 6.2 Water. Water is one of the most crucial natural resources. Life is life on earth depends upon water. Next point we will cover in the next audio, that is audio number 21.